Hey, what is happening, y'all? What is happening, y'all? It is me coming back again with another live stream vid. All right, I'm going to make this live stream relatively short, so I'm going to try to keep this under 1 hour the best way I can, or probably under 40 minutes at best. So just bear with me, guys. I'm going to try to get this out the way, and yeah, let's just talk. Let's get into it. So, in case you guys may not have heard, and many may have heard today, is that the Zone has finally announced that they will broadcast the rights to the Usyk-Joshua rematch that's going to take place this upcoming Saturday in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. The Zone is going to broadcast it internationally, 190 plus countries. And the good thing is, it's not pay per view. It's only based off the subscription. Yippee! Hooray! For once, I have to say I was quite wrong about that, and the reason why I say that is because I always believed the Zone would be the broadcaster outside the UK to win the rights to the fight. However, I thought that they were going to put this on pay per view, just like they made the decision to put Canelo and Golovkin 3 on pay per view in the UK when they initially said they weren't going to do that. So I thought that was the direction they were going to go. But it turns out that they're not going down that direction on the Usyk-Joshua 2 rematch. I know a lot of UK fans are probably looking at that like, well, wait a minute, why are we being stifled here? Why are we paying? Why do we have to pay the cost for a premium fight on top of our subscription, but the U.S. and the other territories don't have to do that for Usyk and Joshua? Um, I will tell you the ugly truth why I believe they have made the decision not to do that. It could be two things. One, they're already facing backlash to the fact that they're showcasing so many pay-per-views to end the year. That's another thing. I think they have 5 scheduled in total. Actually 4 scheduled, I should say. So I think they probably felt that if they were to showcase this on pay-per-view, then it'll be met with some more backlash, and they're already losing subscribers from what is being rumored at this point. Or two, given the fact that they probably looked at the particulars such as the research and development analytics, I should say, and they've determined that maybe it's best that we do not, showcase this fight on pay per view. And you also have to, because they just don't feel that there's no demand for it at all as far as putting it on pay per view, and the fact that if they were try to market it, they were not going to make their money back anyway. The reason why is because Joshua and Usyk are not really known to the casual public here in the United States, even though they fought here before. But Usyk's only fought here twice, and I think the last time he fought here was back in 2018 or late 2017, I believe. And Joshua fought here once in mid 2018, and obviously he suffered devastating loss, and he never came back ever since. So they probably looked at it and said, you know what, even though we're not fronting up the bill for the fight, we're just gonna go ahead and put it on a regular subscription and just make our money that way. Hopefully, we can break even somehow, some way. So that's probably why they made the decision not to put this on pay per view. And given the fact that they're not going to waste their time to promote it, because given the fact that Joshua Usyk is not relatively known, particularly in the United North America, and to the casuals that is, and other parts of the world. Let's be real, they're not. I mean, Joshua is more known than Usyk in a way, because he's known in the in the United in the UAE. He's known in that some parts of Africa, some continents in Africa, I should say, and particularly in the UK and Ireland. So um, that's probably why they made the decision to just add this onto the subscription only base, not add it as a premium fight where you have to pay for it, plus adding onto your subscription. So yeah, I guess I can applaud them for making that decision, but then again, the UK fan base is not going to be happy about this, and they probably see them because they feel they're being stifled over here over their situation. And let me just say the reason why they made the decision. Part of the reason why they made the decision to showcase Canelo and Golovkin 3 on pay per view is because one, they're fitting the bill. That's number one. Number two, that price tag is very expensive because Canelo it's going to cost so much money to to front to put up to put his fights together. And let's not forget, Gennady Golovkin's got that huge lucrative contract as well. So you can see why they're doing that. And not only that, those two guys are more known to the casual public than Joshua and Usyk combined. So that's just the honest truth. So that would explain why they would put that on pay-per-view in the UK and other parts of the world, particularly the United States and Canada and Mexico. So yeah. Now as far as yo, what up, Mala? Yeah, yeah. So now as far as the 190 plus countries is concerned, I don't know how they come to that because the zone is not available all parts of the world. They don't have that big. They don't have that large outreach. So I'm curious to know what do they mean by 190 plus countries will have the privilege to watch this fight. Practically free, technically. Yes, there are going to be a subscription cost, but it's nowhere near the cost it is if you have to pay for it on pay per view. So my guess is that what they mean by 190 plus countries, maybe the zone has brokered deals with linear broadcasters in other parts of the world to broadcast, to showcase the fight. So maybe that's what they meant by 190 plus plus countries will have the opportunity to watch this fight. Um, it's kind of weird how this has been rolled out because Sky Sports, it took them what they announced it maybe a little over 3 weeks ago that this fight they were gonna showcase the fight, and they don't have much time to promote it. And the Zone just today announced it. They only got 6 days, so it seems like nobody is making an effort at all to promote this fight. None, which is bizarre. Yes, they're making last minute pitches here and there, but other than that, that is just really no effort, which is very bizarre, very bizarre. But anyways, but needless to say, though, the zone does have the rights, which was predicted. They have the rights. But what's surprising is that they're not going to put this on pay per view like they're doing with Canelo and Golovkin. So, yeah. Um, yeah. Mala says here that, Dan, I was reading on illegal streams for the first Fury and Wilder fight, and they were under 10 million. And for the second fight, it was 13 million. That's a huge problem. Yeah, it is. Imagine if we didn't have legal streams. The first Wilder and Fury fight probably would have done 900,000 if it weren't for the legal streams. 900,000 at best, close to a million. The second fight would probably have done 1.2 without the legal streams, just based off of just based off theory. Without the streams, it would have done that. The third fight obviously performed lower than the second fight, but it would probably done at least close to a million if it weren't for the illegal stream. So in this case, yeah, Usyk and Joshua, the way this has been rolled out as far as the broadcasting rights is concerned, is very bizarre. I mean, you have to question how the Saudis are, how the Saudis are doing business with this, so or how they're handling this, I should say. So, yeah, it's very bizarre, but it is what it is. So moving on to the next topic. Anthony Joshua, we gotta talk about him a little bit because I actually caught one of his training photos on his social media pages, and we gotta really talk about this. I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up, so bear with me here. Bear with me. Hold on. All right, so we're gonna just talk about this real quickly. Is Anthony Joshua slimming down? The reason why I asked this question is because again, I'm gonna go ahead and bring up this recent photo. I'm gonna share screen this for you guys so you can take a look at it. All right, here we go. So if you look at this photo here, as you can see, it looks like he is trimming down further, probably like an extra. He looks like he's about maybe around 235 ish, or maybe 236, maybe 238 in this photo, maybe a couple pounds, between 2 to 5 pounds. And I know Tony Reviews was on my live yesterday. Shout out to Tony Reviews. And I think he was alluding to this fact that, slimming down further was going to be a bad idea for Anthony Joshua, because he's not in favor of the fact that Joshua is slimming down to 240 just to just to preserve endurance for his fights. Is going to kill off his power and ferociousness. I get where Tony's coming from. I get it, but at the same time, if you're going to fight elite level fighters like Alexander Usyk and the Vladimir Klitschko's and the Tyson Furies of the world and Deontay Wilders, you got to have great conditioning to compete with those guys. And that's where Joshua's lacked. That was the area he's been lacking in so many, for so many years. And him coming down, from the looks of it, he's going to weigh in probably around 230 or 235, not 230, maybe 235 to 238. So he's going to shred at least a couple, 2 to 5 pounds. And to me, I think it's not a bad idea. And the reason why I say that is because at least he understands that to keep up with Alexander Usyk, he's got to have great conditioning. Power is one thing, but power is no good if you don't have the endurance or the conditioning to keep up with a guy who's elite as Alexander Usyk. And he found that out in the first fight. So I think Joshua understands that I'm going to have to keep up with this guy, and whatnot. And obviously make some tactical changes, such as targeting the body, and make sure I don't keep myself wide open for the counters when I do that. So I think this is not a bad idea, but some will beg to differ, because some people have said that he's strained at 240, which is bizarre to me. I never heard of that before, because if you looked at Joshua's early fights, particularly in his debut and in a couple fights after that, pro level that is, Joshua came in, I think in his first fight, he weighed in around 227 or 228. He was very slim, and to me, that's his natural weight, between 220, 235-ish or 230 or 240-ish. And the reason why I say that is because if in those fights, he was a lot quicker, he had a lot more conditioning, he was more energetic, and he wasn't quite as slow. He was pretty fast with his punches, and not unless, and to be fair, Anthony Joshua does have very good hand speed for a guy his size. But to me, and I said this a long time ago, when he gained that excess of muscle, I thought that slowed him down a little bit. It did, and it plagued his conditioning, and I was proven right in prior fights. So I don't blame him for coming down. From the looks of it, it's like he's going to come in around 235-ish or 238, like he did in the Ruiz rematch. So I don't think it's a bad idea. Now, will that help him win the fight? I don't think so, but I think it does increase his chances a little bit of winning the fight by coming down a little bit, just a little bit more, not too excessively, just a little bit more, so that way he can preserve enough in his gas tank to keep up with this guy. So I think I think it's a good idea. Now, as far as Alexander Usyk's concerned, I already touched up on this yesterday. I think him coming in, I think he's going to come in around 225, maybe 220, 26-ish, maybe something around there. I don't see him coming in around 235 as people are projecting it that he will be. I don't see it. If he does, I'll be massively shocked and surprised. Will it change my prediction? Maybe, if he does. But everything is going to be told on the night of the weigh-in. It's going to be very, very, very interesting to see what weight these fighters are going to come in. And to me, I think this is going to be more intriguing than, I hate to say it, but I think the weigh-in is going to be a little bit more intriguing than the fight itself. I mean, even though the fight's going to be intriguing, but the weigh-in is going to tell everything, particularly at heavyweights, because we've seen that with Wilder and Fury twice already. Because the weigh-ins definitely pretty much told how the fights were going to end, how the fights were going to end up. So, yes, if Joshua comes in around 235, 238, I think that's a good move for him, because he can at least preserve more endurance to keep up with him. But I don't think it may be enough. Now, that depends on what weight Usyk comes in. I predict he comes in around 225 and 226. All right. And for these people, again, I think he'll be fine there. But if he goes around 230, 235, Usyk, I don't know. And you know what? Somebody did touch up on this too, because they were talking about Usyk coming around 230 in the first fight. That was the rumor that was spreading around. And looking at his photos, training for that first fight, he did look like he was bulking up to around 230, but he actually came in at 221. So maybe he's playing mind games with Anthony Joshua and fooling everybody to believe that he's going to come in around 235, as Amir Khan is suggesting that he's going to do. But knowing Alexander Usyk, he plays mind games very effectively, and he does it without speaking, because he keeps you guessing all the time. of what he's going to do, what his approach is going to be coming into the fight. He's very methodical and he's very, very cynical. More cynical and more methodical and far smarter than Tyson Fury, far more intelligent than him. And that is the truth. I know Fury fanboys are not going to hear me saying that, but that's the truth. So in knowing Anthony Joshua, he does struggle with with mental challenges. So hopefully, the good thing about Anthony Joshua, he's not being vocal about this, so that's a good thing. He's focusing on trying to get better. I do see that from the looks of it, but we have to see if this all going to translate into the night of the fight. So let's just hope both fighters could come into the fight with no hiccups. I predict there won't be. It looks like both fighters are ready. Alexander Usyk is already he touched in Jeddah already because he was leaving Dubai earlier today. So yeah, and by the way, speaking of that, while he was in Dubai, the temperatures are a lot hotter in Dubai than it is in Jeddah. Not say a lot, but it's like a 5-degree difference between the weather conditions in Saudi Arabia versus Dubai. So he was training in a much hotter conditions than Joshua was while Joshua was being in Dubai, because Usyk has been in Dubai for like 2 or 3 months now, for what I've been told, what I've heard. So yeah, that's very interesting to say. I thought I'd have to throw that out there. So yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting to see how this plays out. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop my screen share a little bit. So let's see here who else came into the chat. Yeah, what's popping, man? El Puncho, what's happening, man? Must be El Dude. All right, let's see here. Mala says that you would think that they would get the boxers on TV shows interviewing them and getting them to know the public. Yeah, I know. That's another thing. That's an interesting thing you brought up, Mala, because I'm sure there's going to be some media day, but at the same time, it's just like there's just no effort of promoting this fight from either network at all. And it's quite strange to me. Now, again, Usyk and Joshua's not going to care because they've already getting their guarantees. They're getting paid. They're getting paid like what, $61 million each. They're splitting the pot between the two. So yeah, they've got their pay. But as far as the promotion is concerned, this is bad. I mean, this is like the worst I've ever seen out of a fight at this magnitude. It's not being promoted at all. Jesus Christ. I mean, that would be very interesting to see what the pay-per-view numbers are going to look like in Sky. I'm sure they're going to do maybe okay, but the fact is they're not promoting it. It's telling to me. It's very telling. So let's see here. I think if Joshua doesn't get Usyk out within 8 rounds, he will be stopped by Usyk. You know what, Mala? I say 5 rounds. I say 5 rounds because the way I see it is that this fight's going to, I think this second fight is going to end up like the Tony Bellew fight, where Joshua's going to come out aggressive. But I think he probably a little bit effective. He'll be more effective with his aggression. He's not going to be reckless like a Derek Chisora. I don't see that. But the fact is that what Joshua's going to do is that he's going to waste his power punches early in those first 5 rounds. And once he does that, he's going to gas, he's going to fade, and he's going to be taken out, because that's exactly what happened to Tony Bellew. Because every time Tony Bellew threw a counter, and he was very sneaky with his counters too, and he's very effective with it. He was hitting Usyk with some power shots every single time. And I'm sitting there wondering, why are you hitting this guy with every power shot? That's going to drain you. And that's exactly what happened to Tony Bellew. He was mentally drained and physically drained because he kept hitting this guy with power shots and just to get his respect, and he couldn't do that. I see the same for Joshua. He may get his respect early on a little bit, but once Usyk weathers that storm and Joshua wastes his energy on power shots, he's going to be gone within 5 rounds. I'll say after the 5th round, if Usyk is still there and he's still coming at him, throwing punches, then that's it for Joshua. He's done. So I think that's what I see how this fight plays out. But then again, will this end in a knockout? I don't think so, but many people are predicting that. Yeah, but if Joshua does get stopped, it wouldn't surprise me. So let's put it that way. Now, again, the biggest worry, I touched upon this yesterday, the biggest worry is that if this fight goes to distance, will Joshua get the benefit of the doubt if the fight is close? Now, if the fight is close, it's close. You can't argue that. That means it could have gone either way to either man. But if this fight goes to a distance where we could clearly see that Usyk dominated the fight and he doesn't get the decision, then yeah, that's a fucking robbery. All right. That warrants a rematch. You cannot just rob a man for doing all the hard work when we clearly saw that he won the fight. We don't need another Jack Catterall, Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall type of fight. Not at this magnitude. No, we don't need no controversy at all. Okay, I know the zone, the Joshua, and the Team Matchroom may not care because they need Joshua to win that fight. They need him to win those belts because there's a lot riding on this if he doesn't win. All right. Now that doesn't say his career is over, but there's so much stock putting into this, so much money putting into this guy that there's a lot of political ramifications for him to win. Now the Joshua fanboys, they're not going to care. They're going to dismiss that as nonsense. And clearly, if they dismiss that as nonsense, they're not being objective at all. All right, they're just being blind by the truth because the fact is that Joshua, there's a lot of money poured into him, and there are political ramifications for him to win this fight because the zone is, him winning it, it's pretty much it's on the condition of the zone's business model or their business and their financial success. So, but to be honest, I don't think it's going to be the case. I think Usyk understands what he's up against. And I think he knows that he's got to knock this guy out. He knows that he may not get a decision. Because if you look at that Tony Bellew fight, after the fight was stopped, if you go to the cards, I think all three judges or maybe two judges at best had Tony Bellew win the fight before the stoppage. Now, to be fair, Tony Bellew arguably won the, 3 of the first 4 rounds? He did. I think I had Bellew up on the card before he got stopped. I think I did. So that right there wasn't much controversy, but what I'm saying is that Usyk was catching on after the 4th or 5th round. He pretty much took over the fight after that, but the judges still had had him down. So maybe 2 or 3 rounds. Maybe 3 rounds is way too much. 2 rounds, maybe a little bit. I think if you're going to have Tony Bellew up, you have to have him at least up by 1 round at least. So anyhow. Yeah, slimming down, I think it's a good idea for Anthony Joshua to slim down just a little bit to preserve more energy in the gas tank. But then again, endurance is a natural ability. Either you got it or you don't. And we all know that Joshua doesn't have great natural endurance. So he's doing what he can to improve it at least, which at least you can do. So, yeah, that's just my thought. So again, I think my prediction for the weigh-in, Joshua's going to come in around between 230 and 238. And not 230, 235 and 238. And Usyk is going to come in around 221 or 226 at best. So that's my prediction on the way in. I agree, fans. I agree. Usyk needs. I agree, Dan. Excuse me, tongue twist there. I agree, Dan. Usyk needs to win this without any doubts because if it's a close fight, they'll take care of Joshua. He's the cash cow. Yeah, it is. He's got to win this fight, and he's got to do it convincingly. Because if this fight's close, and we may say that Usyk deserves a decision, but if he doesn't win this fight, if he fights in a close fashion, he's not going to get the benefit of the doubt. Because even though Joshua is a heavy underdog, but he still has the advantages. Everything's going his way. The ring size, the gloves. I mean, obviously they get to decide what gloves they want to wear. He's got the judges from the looks of it. Everything's going his way. So. Again, if Joshua dominates him, no excuses. He wins the fight. But if he wins and we know that he lost in a controversial fashion, then we're going to call that out. Just like how he won in a controversial fashion to Felix Servan back in the 2012 Olympics. We saw it from our own eyes. We saw that Joshua lost that fight. He lost that fight to Servan. And mind you, that was the last guy before Usyk he fought was a southpaw who could move, who can box, who could take you out, who could break you out of position and throw punches at different angles. And Joshua, that was a nightmare matchup for him when he fought Servan. And he never fought anyone like that again. So, it's very telling. I'm very intrigued, man. I'm very intrigued to see how this fight's going to turn out. Again, I predict Usyk is going to win, like most people are. But I think the weigh-in is going to tell us the actual story of how this fight's going to end up. So that's the way I see it. On to some other stuff. Let's see here. I guess we could talk about this real quickly. Teofimo Lopez versus CAMPA that took place last night on the ESPN card on ESPN Plus. I must say, I only caught that fight. I didn't catch the rest of the card because I'll be very honest, I had no interest for it. But looking at how Teo performed that fight tonight, he looked like his old self. He was having fun. He looked, he looked a little healthier at the weight. he did look, he looked like he was having fun. He looked, yeah, he looked like he was happy, man. And he was boxing very well from the back foot. His counters are very quick. He throws them in, a variety of angles. His foot speed is there, so he didn't look like he was drained this time around, like he was at 135. Uh, where does he go from here? He did what he had to do. I did get Compa 1 round, so he definitely won. He dominated the fight before the stoppage. So where does he go from here? I mean, Josh Taylor? Nah, I doubt that. Some argue that he may not be ready for that fight as of now because he still got to be more acclimated at the 140 weight limit at the weight. So maybe a couple more fights, then maybe go for a Josh Taylor or a Regis Prograis, which are all naturally bigger guys, by the way. I mean, way bigger guys. Because if you look at look at Compa, man, Compa looked like he was a goddamn middleweight. He looked like he weighed around 160 last night. And Tio came in, obviously he was always big at lightweight because sometimes he came in down there 156, 155. So I guess in this state, Tio probably looked like he was around 158 ish, probably. Pretty much a light middleweight, something around that range. He was definitely over 150 plus, or maybe 153, a little bit over that. So, but yeah, Tio is gonna be fighting much bigger dudes, man. And again, Prograis and Taylor, those are big damn light welterweights, and you have Ramirez still hanging around. Then you have upcoming guys like Hari Davies. I mean, I think he'd be Hari Davies. I don't know why. I mean, he is ranked top. He's ranked high with with a couple of sanctioned bodies, but I mean, so Hari Davies is an actual legitimate threat to Teofimo Lopez. I don't, maybe not, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, man. I mean, that's all I have to say about that. It's glad to see him. He's at high spirits and he looks excited. And some people are arguing that his father is trying to stash a spotlight. Just the way he celebrated that win last night, like they won a championship. But it is what it is, man. So yeah, Amala says that I don't. There from the looks of it. But again, he's fighting bigger dudes who can handle his power. So he won't be able to knock a lot of people out, hurt a lot of people as easily like he did at 135. So it's going to be a very very. I think it's going to be a tough journey for him at 140. Very tough journey. So we'll see how this plays out. And I also expect Devin Haney to go up to 140 because I don't think he can make 135 for much longer, but he's got to have the campaign there for at least for a couple more fights, particularly with the Kambosos rematch and the Lomachenko fight. So, yeah, man. Devin's going to have to, Devin is already big as it is at 135. From what I've been hearing, he's struggling to make that weight. So, yeah, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. What up, Tony? I'm doing good, man. I just thought I'd come on here real quickly just to give my couple thoughts about the. Yeah, I know we talked about this yesterday about Joshua slimming down a little bit further because if you look at his recent photo, and I think you saw this too, he looking around. He's coming. He looked like he's coming around maybe 235 or 237, like he did in the Ruiz rematch. And I know you think that's a bad idea, but we beg to differ on that. I think it's a good idea for Joshua to slim down just a little bit. I'm not saying go down to 230. Nah, I think that's doing it way too much. Maybe 237, 238, at least gives him some more, more gas in the tank for him to keep up with Alexander Usyk. So, yeah, I agree. I agree. Haney will have two fights at 135 and then go to 140. Yeah, yeah. After he's wrapped up his commitment with Top Rank, I think he may resign with them because at the end of the day, where is he gonna go? Maybe he could go back to PBC, but I don't think he could go back to Matchroom because there's really no fights from there. What can Eddie Hearn do for him? He can't do nothing for him. Sadly to say, he can't. Even though the relationship is still intact. I mean, they're still on good terms, but Eddie Hearn really can't do anything for Devin Haney. But particularly the fact that he doesn't have the budget to give him fights like he did initially. So, yeah. So Devin, after he fulfills his obligation with the Kambosos rematch and the Lomachenko fight, I think he will stay with Top Rank. Maybe I think it'd be the best decision for him. and he could campaign there and fight Teofimo Lopez. And he could fight other guys like Jose Ramirez. So there are some good top ranks, got some good 140-pound guys there. Regis Prograis, I know he's with Pro Bellum now, but I don't think that he's going to be there much longer because we all know Pro Bellum's got some issues right now. So Prograis may go over to Top Rank. He may sign over with Top Rank after the Pro Bellum situation is sorted out. So, or what I mean by sorted out, I do expect Pro Bellum to be dissolved in another year or two because right now they're just they're fighting for their lives. You know, with the Kinahan situation, there's no way out of that for them. And right now they can only sell their fighters to other networks to get them taken care of at least. What I mean by sell them to other networks, I mean they're actually partnering up with other networks to get them, get their fighters some fights. So, yeah, I don't see them lasting much longer, another year or two. Once this whole thing with Kinahan is dissolved. So, yeah, um, yeah. Let me before I wrap this up, let me see if there's anything else I want to talk about here. In other boxing news. All right, Xander Zayed. I know he's currently at 154, but he said he wants to go down to 147. I don't know about that. Eddie Hearn is buying. He's not buying this whole Tyson Fury retirement. He sees it as a publicity stunt on the eve of Usyk-Joshua too. You know what? As much as I criticize Eddie Hearn, he may have a point there because Tyson Fury does have a pattern of doing shit like this, pulling publicity stunts on the eve of Joshua fights. He's known to do that. So I don't know what it is about Anthony Joshua that Tyson Fury gets so riled up about. I don't know what it is. Maybe he's still upset that he doesn't get the recognition or the recognition and the respect like he did, like Anthony Joshua does. Maybe because Anthony Joshua does the right things and your ass is affiliated with a fucking criminal, and you had the nerve to go out there and demonize the Jewish community and the LGBT community. I mean, Joshua never done that. Your ass did. And the fact that you have a dodgy history when it comes to failing drug tests, and you were trying to, you have multiple people covering that up for you. You have a history of paying off a bribe to get you off that that UCAD drug scandal. So, yeah, maybe because Anthony Joshua doesn't really have much of a dodgy history. Yes, he has a criminal conviction. He got, he was in possession of marijuana. He sold it, but that's a small case compared to what you've done, Tyson or Luke. That's small potatoes compared to what you've done in the past. So maybe that's why Anthony Joshua gets way more respect than you do. So you can't be mad at Anthony Joshua for that. You should be angry at yourself because of who you are, the way you portray yourself with the public. Yeah, it is who you are, but at the same time, nobody's going to like dodgy characters. Not many people. So it is what it is. And by the way, I maintain my position on this. I think Tyson Fury is heavily implicated in the Daniel Kinahan scandal, and there's going to be a lot of stuff that will be unraveled in that situation. Given another year or two, we're going to start finding out some more information about Tyson Fury's dodginess. So, yeah. Prograis got to get moving. He's 33 years old. It's frustrating. He hasn't had a big fight since the Taylor fight. Yeah, I mean, before he signed with Pro Bellum, it's like, I don't know what it is with Regis Prograis. Is he on bad terms with PBC? It seems like it to me. It seems like he can't get anything done with them. Supposedly he had a fight lined up with Adrian Broner, and they call that off. I don't know what it is. They ended up fighting with Trilla, and then I think that situation turned out sour because I think there was a pay discrepancy there. And then now he's a Pro Bellum. It's short lived because Pro Bellum was actually getting dates with Eurosport until the Daniel Kinahan sanctions came about. They lost their TV deal, and they're struggling to get their fighters showcased on other networks. So, yeah, Prograis doesn't have much time, man. I mean, especially at 140, he's 33 years old, man. He doesn't have much time, and he's really got to do something. I know most of it's out of his hands because he leaves in the hands with his handlers, but dude, and he's not really he's not a rich guy. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't have money, but dude, I can't imagine what position he is in right now because it seems like he's starving. He's got to get some fights. Same thing with Demetrius Andre. Now, to be fair, I think Andre is in a little bit better position than Prograis because he actually made a lot of money fighting a bunch of tomato cans before Matchroom dropped him. So I don't know, man. Yeah, Prograis. I like Regis Prograis, but yeah, he's got. I really hope for the brother to get something going, man. really hope for the best for him. I really do. So yeah, back to some other stuff. Let's see what else we got going on here. Uh, some people ask me, why do I know talk about the 135-pound division often? I explain why. Because there's just not really much done. I mean, nothing gets done at 135. Yes, we've seen a few fights here and there, but particularly Lopez and Lomachenko. But other than that, yeah, we've got some okay fights. We got the Gamboses and the T.O. fight. That, even though that was a mandatory fight, we got the Gamboses and Devin Haney fight. And so it looks like, not only are we going to get the rematch, but we're going to get Devin Haney versus Lomachenko. And what's funny about that is that most of those fights are being done by Top Rank. Most of those light heavyweight fights are being done by Top Rank. What's PBC doing? Nothing with Tank. It's like, I don't understand why Tank resigned with Mayweather. I don't know. Maybe again, it just goes back to your comfort zone. Maybe he's too comfortable to the fact that he gets to fight a bunch of nobodies and make a lot of money. Tank Davis so used to that. So now it's like it's going to be pulling teeth to get him to fight, the top notch guys, which he did. He himself admitted that he doesn't really have a desire to do. I know Tank fans don't want to hear that, but that's what Tank Davis said. He said it himself in a live interview that he doesn't really have the desire to fight the top names. Now, maybe I'm over exaggerating from saying that, but he said himself that he doesn't really ask for big fights. So, yeah, but we'll see. Dan, if Spencer Crawford doesn't happen this year, I think it's all over. They'll never fight. You know what? I know I seen Steven Espinoza is quite upset. He's been venting on Twitter or social media, I should say, recently, because a lot of people are harassing him over the Terrence Crawford Earl Spence fight. And he literally said that, look, I don't know how many times I got to tell people this. I'm only paraphrasing what he said. He said, look, I don't know how many times I got to tell people this. I'm not going to give you all the particulars and all the updates like some other promoter would do. When the fight is done, it's done. I'm not going to discuss anything publicly while things are ongoing. Let's leave it at that. And I applaud Steven Espinoza because, dude, when you get a fight done, just get it done. You don't need to tell the people that we're here, we're this phase of the negotiations, we have advanced it. No, many people don't need to hear that. Just get it done. And I think that's why I wish Eddie Hearn would just be more mindful about that. I think he's kind of learned his lesson after the Fury and Joshua debacle. I mean, to be fair, he's been doing that with Usyk and Joshua too. Keep giving us periodic updates here and there, and we don't need that. When the fight is done, it's done. Just say it when it's done. When somebody asks you that question, you don't have to feel obliged to give them an update. Just say, look, I will give you an update when the fight is done. That's all you need to say. That's all I have to say. So, yeah, I look, if it doesn't happen this year, I mean, chances of it Crawford Spence happening does look very, 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 very slim. So, yeah, but the way things are going, based off what's reported right now, based off insider information, things are looking promising. So I think what they're trying to do, from the looks of it, I think they're trying to iron out the final details to Terrence Crawford's contract, because this is not the only fight that he will be agreeing to. I think there's going to be a package deal where he's going to give PBC like two or three, maybe three or four fights after the Spence fight. I think the first fight, obviously, and then the rematch, and then two more fights after that. I think that's what the particulars are as far as finalizing his deal. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, we get something sooner rather than later. Let's go down the list. I did mention Dazn had confirmed the U.S. distribution rights. We already talked about that. But let me see what the comments are going on there. I'm on Boxing Scene, guys. There's not too many comments there, but we'll see. Oh yeah, the time the time when the fights are going to be broadcast. So the zone in the United States is going to broadcast the Usyk-Joshua 2 fight at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. Whoa. Whoa. That is pretty early, especially in the West Coast, because I live in the West Coast. Man, 9 a.m. on Saturday? I'll be sleeping in, man. I'm not sure if I'm going to not catch the fight. Maybe I'll wake up for the main event, but I'm probably going to miss the other card because I'm going to be sleeping in. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'll try to wake up, but dude, I'm probably going to be sleeping in. I probably won't wake up till like 11 a.m. Probably just to catch the main event. That's it. So, Yeah. 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern time. That is very, very odd time though. I'm sorry, time to showcase the fight. In fact, I heard the UK time to showcase the fight is a bit weird too, because I think their pay-per-view is like midday, which is bizarre. It's pretty bizarre. I think it's midday for them over there. So that's kind of yeah, it's weird how they have this fight showcase that early. I mean, the card that is. So it is what it is. We can't complain. Alonzo fight's being showed. We get to see the fighters fight in the ring. That's all that matters. Tony says, "Yo, shout out to Fight Doctor." So from what I've heard, they've offered Crawford 16 million for 3 fights. So that's 5.3. It's a joke. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did Bob Arum offer him more than that on his contract before he parted ways with Top Rank? I mean, because what I've heard, his guarantee was 3 million plus upside. So if this is 5 million plus upside, this is a damn good deal. But if it's not no upside is included, then I can see where you're coming from, Tony. Okay, so 6 million guarantee versus Porter. Okay, but what about his other fights before that? Because from my understanding, it was 3 million guaranteed plus upside. So, but at the same time, that 3 million was his minimum. It doesn't mean it's 3 million for every fight. So I could see what you mean that he got 6 million for the Porter fight. So, uh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, 5.3 is a lot of money, but if it's not, if it's pale and it pales in comparison to his previous contract, and maybe it is a bit of a low ball. So uh, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, hopefully we can get this thing ironed out for him, and we can just announce it sooner rather than later. So yeah, yeah. Again, the zone broadcasting this fight at 9 a.m. Again, that's not their fault. That's a fight. That's when the Saudis have agreed to hold the event at that time, to according to their time zone. So yeah, man, that's very weird. So if fight's gonna be 9 a.m. right over here in the West Coast. I want to see the world clock. Okay, let's see. All right, so time zone difference between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. All right, so let's see. So if it's 9 a.m., god damn. So the fight's gonna be 7 p.m. in Riyadh. That's when the card's gonna start. So the main event probably won't be till 2 hours later. So probably be around 9 a.m. 9 p.m. over there. So I guess that makes sense. But in the UK, oh boy, we have to wait and see this one right here. All right, the UK, maybe not too much of a difference because it's a little bit closer to Saudi Arabia than it is here in the United States, or particularly in the West Coast. So, okay, so only 2 hours ahead. So, okay, so actually, I have to make a small retraction. So, since the main card starts at 7 p.m., so the pay per view starts at 5 p.m. So, yeah, that's not quite bad for the UK. So, the main event probably won't start till 7 p.m. for them. It's not quite as bad. I mean, not bad, but it's not quite as unusual. But here, yeah, that's unusual. But it is what it is. It's a time zone difference. You can't really do anything about that. So yeah, so this is pretty much it's pretty standard to when you put on a fight like this, you have to put it on a later time, 9 p.m. And by the way, what's going to be the weather be at 9 p.m. in Saudi Arabia? I think it's going to be around 90, something right there, 90 degrees Celsius. That I mean Fahrenheit. That is. So but the humidity is going to be an issue. So we'll see how both fighters react to that. But I think the air conditioning in the stadium is going to kind of help alleviate some of the heat concerns. But if it does, then I would assume that the conditions or the temperatures in the stadium is probably going to be around maybe 75 degrees, maybe that. If it's 75 degrees, then I think that's fair for both fighters. I think they'll be fine. So we'll see. August weather. So let's see the temperatures right now. Current temperatures. Right now is 92, and it's 4 a.m. But it's gonna accelerate to 110 degrees. So on Saturday, let's see. On Saturday, Okay, so on Saturday it's going to be 86 at night. So if it's going to be 86 at night in Saudi Arabia, uh then I would say that the stadium. So again, the stadium probably going to bring the temperatures. It's going to bring it to the air conditioning that is. It's going to bring it to probably 70. So I think that the fighters are going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Yeah, 112. Oh, Jesus Christ, and that's in the middle of the day. But once it gets to like let's say 8 p.m. Actually, am I reading this right? Hold on. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday. So we got Saturday here. Yeah, okay, I'm reading right. I'm reading it right. So yes, so it's going to be projected to be 86, and the humidity is only 10%, so it's not going to be quite bad as far as the humidity is concerned. So yeah, but as far as I mentioned earlier, Alexander Usyk was in Dubai recently, and the humidity is worse in Dubai than it is in Saudi Arabia. Maybe because it's a coastal city, probably that's probably why. Or coastal territory, I should say. So that's probably why the humidity is more so over there than it is in Jeddah, particularly. So yeah, yeah, I think that yeah. So yeah, Usyk and Joshua will be fine as far as the weather conditions concerned. I think they'll be okay. All right. So what else we got here, guys? I think that's it. I don't have nothing else to cover. I think that's all we have to say today. Well, oh yeah. Let me talk about this real quickly. The WBC. Let me go and put this in the banner. The WBC has Mauricio Sulaiman has responded with the Tyson Fury's title situation. So Mauricio Sulaiman came out and gave an interview with a Mexican publication. I forgot what it was called, but he's given Tyson Fury up to the August 26th, which is about 2 weeks from now. He's given him 2 weeks to give a written confirmation that he's definitely going to retire. So, meaning that Tyson Fury has at least 2 weeks to respond, whether he's really going to retire or not. And I think that's a bit bizarre because if he says he's retired, then why not strip him right away? Why are you giving him time to make a final decision on that? I don't understand that. Maybe because they want to give him enough time to see what the outcome of Usyk-Joshua is going to be. Because I maintain my position. Should Joshua win, if he wins, Tyson Fury's taking that fight. He's taking that fight. Now, if Usyk wins, then yeah, he's not going to take that fight. He's going to say, "I'm going to stay retired." I really believe that because he wants nothing to do with Alexander Usyk based off his posture, based off his attitude towards him. In fact, Alexander Usyk recently had said something about Tyson Fury about the things he say about him, call him a blown up middleweight or something like that. And Alexander Usyk said, that's funny though because he didn't say none of that to my face. I could tell you all the things he said to my face, but he's telling you guys differently. So, uh, basically, what Usyk is implying is that Tyson Fury may be a little intimidated when he sees Alexander Usyk. In fact, the rumor mill is that when he did see him, this was on the night of, I think it was on the night of Bob Aaron's birthday, and they had a card going on. And Tyson Fury was in Vegas, and Alexander Usyk showed up and Tyson Fury didn't know he was there, and Usyk was right behind him, and Tyson Fury turned around and looked at him, and he kind of got, I'm not saying he was spooked, but he kind of got a little surprised, just like, oh shit. And then the rumor mill is that when he was talking to him, he told Usyk is that, damn, you're bigger than I thought. So I'm not sure that's telling, but as Alexander Usyk said, it's like, look, this guy has told he didn't say all this shit to my face. He won't say that to me. We do this face to face. But when he tells you guys, he tells you a different story about me. So I don't know. Is Tyson Fury intimidated with Alexander Usyk from the look of it? Maybe from a psychological standpoint, he probably is. He probably knows that this is the one guy I cannot intimidate, and this is the one guy I know that I cannot beat mentally. I know I can't beat him mentally. I may have the physical advantages, but this guy is mentally strong, and he can beat me in many ways that I can't. So Tyson Fury knows that he probably can't beat Alexander Usyk, especially in his Usyk is currently in his prime right now. He's at his peak. So if Usyk wins, and I expect him to win, I think Fury's gonna retire. He's gonna stay out of the way until somebody takes care of Usyk for him. and then he's gonna come back. And I don't like when fighters do shit like that. I really don't, because to me that's fucking cowardly. I'm gonna just maintain my position on that. That's a cowardly move right there for Tyson Fury. That's his motives, and I believe that's what his motive is. So why give Tyson Fury 2 weeks? Give him 2 weeks to decide whether he's going to commit to his retirement. And to me, uh, I just think that the WBC, I don't know why they're being way too lenient. I think they just strip him. Just strip him for the fucking title and let somebody else fight for it. Because at this point, I think we had enough of Tyson Fury and his antics. And I think, from what I'm seeing, some of his fans are turned off and they're leaving him because the way he's been behaving. And I said this last night on my live stream yesterday too. I think the part of it is due to the fact that the Daniel Kinahan situation. I think that situation is going to progress, and he's going to be heavily implicated, and we're going to see a lot more shit about him come out that we're not privy to right now. I really believe that. I just think, yeah, I don't know why they're giving him 2 weeks. I don't know why they're giving this guy 2 weeks to decide whether is he committed to retirement or not. That's bullshit by the WBC. I really think. Fight Doctor says that Fury's retiring because he can't get a license to fight. Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think that's part of why that's part of the reason why he can't he's retiring, supposedly, because he can't get a license. He doesn't have a UK license. His foreign license is expired because obviously he can't get that renewed because he's banned from the United States. We don't know how long that ban's going to be, so he can't do anything right now. He can't until this Kinahan situation is sorted out. So, but yeah, Mala says that I think Fury's a good fighter, but it is a bitch move on his part to not fight the winner, AJ Usyk. Yeah, it is a bitch move, but I honestly believe that if he can get a license, if he can get that sorted, he'll fight Anthony Joshua. But Usyk, nah, he's gonna stay away from Usyk as far as he can. I think he's gonna wait till he slows down and then he's gonna fight him. Now, as far as Anthony Joshua is concerned, yeah, he could take him on, no problem, because Joshua's a stationary target. He can fight him, no problem. He can maul him, but Usyk, he's not gonna get away with that with him. No. The U.S. has listed over 600 people that have been banned from the U.S. having links to Kinahan. Yeah, and Fury's one of them in his family. So, yeah, that's obvious. So, but we don't know how long that ban's going to be, and I think it's going to stay there until they start cooperating, giving information they have on Kinahan. So, yeah, he's in a very tough spot, and it's funny though. It brings me to Dan Raphael, because he made a comment on his Twitter feed, and he said, "Love or hate him," and this is paraphrasing. He said, "Love or hate him, Tyson Fury is a Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer." And then somebody chimed on that and said, "It's funny though, because as I recalled, didn't you not vote for James Tony to be on the first ballot Hall of Fame because of a PED test?" I repeat, somebody came at Dan Raphael said that as I recall, did you not vote for James Tony to be on the Hall of Fame first ballot because of a PED test? And as soon as that comment came in, everybody chimed in on that, and Dan Raphael did not respond at all, because he got caught with caught on his hypocrisy and his double standard. So if you're gonna say one guy is a first ballot Hall of Famer, but you didn't want to give James Tony the benefit of the doubt because he failed the drug test, then that is definitely a double standard. The pot, the kettle black, as you want to call it. Because, again, if you're going to be fair across the board, if you're going to be fair, you got to do it across the board. You cannot say one guy doesn't deserve to be in a Hall of Fame first ballot because of a past PED failed drug test, but yet you're not acknowledging the other fighter for the same result, for the same standard. So, yeah, Dan Raphael usually responds to all his tweets, but when that guy came in, or whoever it was who chimed in and said something about that on his Twitter feed, he didn't respond at all. He knew he couldn't, because he is on record for saying that I will not vote Jace Tony in on the first ballot Hall of Fame because of past PED tests. But yet Tyson Fury has failed multiple tests. He's failed multiple drug tests. So, wow, okay. I guess Dan Raphael needs to be careful what he says, because he has to understand that people do have archive of past statements. So, yeah. I know Fight Doctor wanted to chime in on that. He said, yeah, Raphael don't know shit about boxing. I mean, anything that idiot says, he shouldn't be taken seriously. Yeah, but you know what? Though I will say this though, I'll give credit when credit is due. Don Raphael does have good sources, and when he comes to fact checking his information, he does a very good job at that. More so than Mike Coppinger, I'll say. And to be fair to Mike Coppinger, he has done a more diligent job, I will say, of fact checking or cross referencing his sources. Sorry, guys, sources. So I said sources, sources, whatnot. So yeah, yeah. So Dan, I respect Dan Raphael, but be careful what you say because your past statements will haunt you. So yeah. All right. So what else is there? What else is there? All right. Let's see. Let's see. Hmm. You know what? Somebody brought this to my attention. You know what? I want to talk about this real quickly. The zone, and some people are, there's a lot of speculation on why did they take until now, which is about what 6 days away until maybe 5 days away for the fight between Usyk-Joshua to take place. Why did they wait 5 days to announce that they have acquired the rights outside the UK to broadcast the fight? Someone said that you know what, it's possible that the Saudis didn't want the zone to win the rights outside the UK. They were actually shopping around for the highest bidder. It may have turned out that no one wanted to put up the bill for the fight, or when I'm not saying put up the bill, but no one outside the zone wanted to secure the rights because they didn't see no value into it. So in the fight, so that's why the Saudis had no choice but to give it to the zone. Now that is probably possible. I could see that as a possible scenario given the fact that the Saudis refused to give the rights to the zone, the rights to the fight in the UK, they gave it to Sky instead, whatnot. It's possible, given the fact that it taken so long to finally announce this. I don't think the zone, to be fair to the zone, I don't think they deliberately wanted to wait until now to say that they've won the rights. I think the Saudis were holding out until they could find the highest bidder. That's possibly true. That's probably true. They were waiting. They were just holding out until they could find the highest bidder outside the U.S. I mean, outside the UK to get the highest bidder to purchase the rights to the fight, and they couldn't get no one to commit, so they had no choice but to give it to the zone. So, yeah, that's that's probably the case. And it also goes to show that maybe the Saudis overvalued this fight. I think they're gonna take a loss on this fight right here. Now, to be fair, they probably don't care to some extent because they're just trying. They got so much money they can waste. It's no problem for them, but you just don't want to waste money just to waste money. You want to make a profit somehow. So obviously they're doing what they can. They're investing just to get tourism going in their country because they realize that tourism is what's going to make them money, bring revenue, is going to bring strength into their economy. I get that, but knowing that they probably overvalued this fight, they may take a loss. They probably gonna look back at this and say, okay, next time we can't overvalue events like this again, because I think that to the commenter who brought this to my attention, someone it's possible that the reason why the zone took so long to announce that the fact they won the rights is because the Saudis did not want to give them that rights. They wanted to give it to highest bidder, but no one wanted to commit outside from the zone. So it is what it is. So I just thought I'd share that with you guys. Um, yeah, I think that's all, guys. I don't think there's nothing else to talk about right now. Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this up. I want to give a shout out to some of the people that came in: Tony Reviews, Fight Doctor, Mala. Who else? I think that's it. Not too many people came in. I know it's late, so yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.